It's time for the Cooper Group's road trip. We're traveling in the all-new Chevy Malibu, courtesy of Seaweaver Chevrolet. The Malibu was named 2008 North American Car of the Year and one of Car and Driver's 10 Best Cars of 2008. This week we travel to the south end of Otsego Lake to Cooperstown. Cooperstown was founded by and named after Judge William Cooper. His son, James Fenimore Cooper, became one of the best-loved novelists in the United States. Many of his novels were set in Cooperstown, celebrating its natural beauty. By the late 19th century, the area evolved into a summer retreat. Many of the beautiful estates and buildings still exist today. The Otsego County Courthouse on Main Street is an example of the magnificent architecture of the late 1800s. If you look closely, you will see a sunflower motif, indicative of the architect Archimedes Russell of Syracuse. The benches and sets of banded bookcases are original, and upstairs the courtroom is awe-inspiring.
I am standing in front of the defense table, and I can say one thing. If you are going to get yourself sued, be sure that you're sued here in Otsego County so you can have the pleasure of spending time in this gorgeous courtroom. The stained glass windows here are original. They've been here for some 130 years. And the benches, when you come in and sit on one of these benches, let's say that your great-great-grandfather was a juror here, he would have sat on one of these benches.
Many people refer to it as a church, but it was built as a courthouse. The original courthouse was on Lower Main Street, and that burned down, and then this was built. What we can find is that it was built for the sum of $20,000 back in 1880. In 1935, they put a drop ceiling into this main courtroom, and they closed off all of the side windows, and they put the judge's bench in front of the windows, and they put the jury box in the back corner. So it was a very dark courtroom at that time. Then in 1985, it went into renovation. And we say the first time we lost by one vote, they decided that the county wasn't going to do anything with the courthouse, but it went back to vote and we won by one vote, and it was renovated in 1985. When the drop ceiling came down, we were all in awe because everything that is there now, the original ceiling, the original beams were all there when that drop ceiling came down, so we were in awe when the drop ceiling came down. My husband says I'm probably the only person that when we travel we have to tour every courthouse that we go into wherever we stop for lunch or dinner at night. I just find it fascinating and try to compare it to our courthouse here, and I have yet to find a courthouse as beautiful as our courthouse here in Cooperstown.
It would certainly be a crime not to shop while in Cooperstown. And with Easter just around the corner, the smell of homemade chocolate draws us into straws and sweets. The shop is filled with fine chocolates and old-fashioned candies to spark your childhood memories.
Take out a faded picture, wonder what she was like, but he couldn't find the courage to come home for the last time.
While you're in Cooperstown, there's a place on Main Street called Straws and Sweets. And you have to come in here because to me, Easter always will mean candy, and the candy in here is, it's good. Mrs. Raspberry takes me back a few years. And little Hoppy here had his a few minutes ago, and I asked him what he thought about it. He says, good. Standing in a bookstore here on Main Street in Cooperstown, and it's been here almost as long as baseball itself, since 1869, and it's called Augers. Opening day is just around the corner, and here in Cooperstown you can feel the energy in the air. There's also some energy for a book that is coming out that very same day about baseball's greatest hit, the story of Take Me Out to the Ball Game And we're going to be talking to one of the authors in a moment, Tim Wiles.
Everyone knows the song Take Me Out to the Ball Game. It has been recorded over 500 times by everyone from Liberace to Jerry Lee Lewis, Frank Sinatra to Carly Simon, and Aretha Franklin to Frank Zappa. But where did it come from, and what's its appeal? A new book uncovers the story behind the song.
It's the centennial of Take Me Out to the Ball Game, which is the third most frequently sung song in the United States after Happy Birthday and the national anthem. So the song is really a big part of American culture and a big reflection of American culture. And I gave a Rotary talk earlier this year, and the first question they asked me before the talk was, how can you write an entire book about a single song? And I let them know that there are lots of other books about single songs, but besides that, this song is so entwined with baseball history. So we get into the history of baseball in 1908. We also get into women in baseball in 1908. A lot of people don't realize that there are two verses to this song that are very infrequently heard. And some people will say, why do we sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game when we're already there? And the answer to that question is that the song is sung from the point of view of Katie Casey. She's the protagonist. And she is asking her young beau to take her to the ball game. He wants to take her to a show, and she says, no, I'll tell you what you can do. Take me out to the ball game. So that's the backstory behind the song. We sing only the refrain at ball games, but there are two fun verses. And there are 16 versions of the song that are on a CD that comes with the book as well. So.